In this recording, I'm going to give you a super quick introduction to astrohacking. It's one of the most powerful practices that I've been using for the last 2 years. It's the reason I disappeared from YouTube for so long. Astrohacking is the art of picking any area of your chart, any area whatsoever, like, say, this one, and being able to be it. In your psychology, you have frameworks for everything you see. Friends, enemies, COVID, whatever. You have a view of what that looks like, and that view can be located somewhere in there. If this were my chart, it's just a random day, but if this were my chart and I had an opinion of, say, I don't know, staplers. I pick up this stapler and I'm like, yeah, man, this stapler is a certain kind of object, and I describe it. The psychology of how I describe it is going to be located somewhere in my chart. It's an object. I use it at the office. I might represent it somewhere down here. And if I wanted to pretend to be a stapler, I would activate maybe something down here in my chart. If this were a millionaire, if this were a celebrity, if this were a great family man or woman or whatever, then I could activate it just in general. But in order to astrohack, you note that if you've got stuff, say, here, and you want to be it, you're going to need to know what lives there. I could be here, right? Because I know the sun is there. So it's like, oh, I want to turn on my Leo 9. If I want to, by the way, Leo 9, let me explain that. I chop the wheel of 12 signs into 12 mini signs, which I call duodecanates. So 12 signs, and within each sign is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So there's a Virgo 1, Virgo 2, Virgo 3, Virgo 4, Virgo 5, Virgo 6, Virgo 7, Virgo 8. They correspond more or less to the conjunct, the opposition, the trine, the square, quintile, sextile, septile, octile, novile, decile, undecile, what's his face? In conjunct, right? And so I just label them 1 through 12. So Leo 9 is more like the Leo novile. And so it corresponds to doing Leo things with respect to novile things, getting attention with respect to the public, right? So if you wanted to get attention with respect to the public world, you'd want to do these things here. Now, this one's easy because we know what asteroids are there. You'd be a life-changing vertex, interactor 101, the sun, joining ideas, Mercury. And so it would make you explain things, basically, and be able to explain things in a way that changes people's lives. Ironically, this is the birth chart of right now. It's the birth chart of this video. So anyway, you can be anything you want to be, but you really are going to have to know what asteroids live in any area. In order to astrohack, you're basically adopting the role for yourself of anything you can conceive of. And so if you feel like you are a life changer and you're always changing the lives with respect to somebody who's limited, Saturn, right? It's the opposition. Anything you do is with respect to some context, right? And let's say you want to be the opposition. Well, then you'll have to put on the structured world, right? Getting kind of informational influence, because this is in Aquarius 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a little past 0, 10 degrees in Aquarius. It says so right here, right? So it's in Aquarius 8. If you take a 30-degree sign and you divide it into 12, each section is worth 2.5 degrees. So you can measure 0 to 2.5 degrees, to 5 degrees, to 7.5 degrees, to 10 degrees, to 12.5 degrees. And Saturn is between 10 and 12.5 degrees, but the duodecanates count backwards in the other order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Anyway, that's how I do this. You'll need to know this. You'll need to know this in order to astrohack, because basically these aren't precise oppositions, but whatever. The other thing I want to tell you is that if you're going to put on a hat, let's say that you easily use your Sun Mercury, but you want to really use your Saturn here because you want to be a group power, Aquarius 8, right? I call these people who kick butt in previous videos, because that's not videos, in my books, because that's what statistically Aquarius 8 is shown to do. So what happens is that normally we're using these things by default. We're just you know, we're wearing the character of our wheel. But when we do, these are real happenings, and if you're familiar with engineering or the imaginary axis or whatever, the squares to it are potential happenings. So whenever you put on a chart, put on a section of your chart, you cannot do, not easily, the square to your chart. It doesn't have to be bad. It's kind of like you can't grow a plant unless you've planted the seed. But if you're planting the seed, it's not growing, right? Planting the seed is done with respect to the ground. Growing is done with respect to the world or the watcher. And so that grand cross, seed planting, growing, ground, watching, form the center of how you would astrohack this quartet. If you wanted to be any one of those four, then you would have to acknowledge that you can't do the squares to it, and you're going to have the opposition to it as the thing you're interacting against. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because if it doesn't, you're not going to astrohack very easily. When you're putting on a hat of a certain cluster in your chart, you have to make sure that you know what you're behaving against, and you have to be all right with what you can't do at that moment. So anyway, now, once upon a time on my website, I had get an astrology reading. Life happened, and I couldn't stay with it. So what I've done for anybody who has tried to contact me over the last 2 years to get me to read their chart, I stopped reading charts because it's not valuable. It's like a gee whiz moment. People are like, wow, I learned so much, but it doesn't really change your life. Let me give you something that will. Go to my site, and the Get an Astrology reading is no longer there. Click on 1,000 Asteroid Interpretations from Laurentia. They used to be in my book only, but now you can find them everywhere. And copy and paste this. Here's the table. This is the Laurentia table. You absolutely need this. Let me go back to Starfisher and show you what's missing. Remember I said you can put on the hat of this if only you knew what was there? There are tons and tons and tons of asteroids that don't normally show up. I mean, we put our favorites like Juno and Vesta in there. Why don't we put Adalberta or Limpo or I don't know, Julia? They're there, they exist, and they have meaning. So how many of them are there? Hundreds of thousands, but the first 1,000 or so are interpreted. Look at how full this chart is, right? Russia, the asteroid of hijacking the context when you're not in a room, people are talking about you. Sunday, I don't know what that means, but I must have been calculating something. Wolfiana, the asteroid of putting yourself under intense stress. Valborg, the asteroid of a soap opera, generating a soap opera-like events for yourself. Anyways, you get the idea. When the chart is full and you know where everything is, you could say, oh, I want to be that cluster, and by the way, these are the asteroids that live there. But what do these guys mean? What does Leona mean? What does Cleo mean? Now, you can find out. Go here, copy and paste this chart, and I'm going to say, well, what does Leona mean? Leona. No. There we go. Associated with masculinity, paralyzing, feminine power, where any feminine type behaviors may apply here. There's just a note. I talk about it in my books. For the first 1,000 asteroids, they are the easier one. They were some of the easiest ones to find. So a lot of them are in the Mars-Jupiter asteroid belt. And Mars region stopping at Jupiter is a Scorpio region. The Jupiter region stopping at Uranus is a Sagittarius region, and so on and so forth. And so many of these asteroids that are lower than 1,000 are going to have Scorpio-type characters. I explain this in the book, but I just want to note this here because some of the asteroids may shock you. They're like, oh my God, that's so scandalous. I observed people, not cars, not earthquakes, and so people have certain kinds of characteristics. Whenever you see masculinity, by the way, think of assertion. There are no rules. I'm going to put some behavior out there. That's masculinity, whether or not it comes from a male or a female. Think of femininity as being a domain. I'm an area which experiences certain kinds of things. And when the things come in, I determine what comes in, what is real, what isn't. And that's femininity, whether or not it comes from a male or a female. Just think of it that way. If you want to depersonalize it, that is. Anyway, let's get to what you need to do in order to astrohack. You're going to need two things. You're going to need the interpretations of all these asteroids, and you'll also need where these asteroids live in your chart. Now, I go to serenu.com in order to spit out my first 1,000 asteroids because you have to log in. I've logged in already. I've set up a login account. I'm telling you, if you want to do this right now, you can't. You're going to need to email the Serenu people and say, can I have an account? And it takes, I don't know, a day or two. It takes a little while. It's totally worth it. Pay the $8 a month or whatever it is at least one time and come in here and get your 1,000 asteroids. You can even get your 24,000 asteroids if you want. It's worth it. I'm telling you. Don't pay somebody however many dozens of dollars to read your chart. Pay Serenu $8 so you can get all your asteroids, so you can hack your own chart with all the stuff there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just use the chart for right now. I never use Placidus if I can help it. I always use product page. It has to do with latitudes, I explained in the book. And I'm putting some of my favorite extra asteroids here. The MPC numbers, right? 1688, Wilkins, the asteroid of inheritance. I want to know where that is. Caltech, the asteroid of like noir and things that take a long time for society to get it, even though they were right on at the time. 1812, I forget what that is. Memoria, I forget what that is. Vertana, forget what that is, because there's so many of them. But the point is that these numbers, comma separated, are these numbers, right? So anyway, you can put extras in there. And I'm going to go ahead and click Go. Imagine this is your chart with your information. Oh, you know what? I don't want this. I'm going to sort by degree. That's important. Okay. So let's go again. And I'll wait a moment. Alrighty. Look at this. Starting with 0 Aries. So we have this, and I'm going to start selecting it, and then I'm going to hit Control Shift End. And that Control C, it's going to do it. You know, I actually like to keep this data here. Let's try that again. I'm selecting the data. Control Shift End. Control C. Go to my Excel. Paste it. There it is. Nice. Put some color to that so we know that it's there. Okay. And, whoops, no wrapping text. There we go. All right, so this is what I pasted. It's a nice, neat little table from Serenu. Second thing, oh, we'll call this my chart. All right, and here we'll say this is the interpretation. Interpretation. There we go. All right. Next thing we're going to do is go to my site, Electric Monastery, and select this table. Go all the way up. Go here. Control Shift End to select all that. Control C to copy. Come here. And then on a new sheet in Excel, paste it. Control V. And yeah, there you go. I'm going to treat this as a table, as a named table in Excel. Okay, watch what I'm doing. So first of all, let me select all that just by clicking the upper corner, turning off wrap text because it's annoying. And there we go. These are the names, these are the MPC numbers, and these are the interpretations. Click here, and then select the whole table. I'm just going to hit Control A because I think the new Excel knows. And there it is. It selects all. And then let's format as table up here. Format as table. I'll put this one right here. And yeah, my table has headers. That's what I want to do. Okay. And this table is called table 1. Now, let's call it asteroids. Asteroids table. Alrighty. Cool. I want to make sure this is sorted in alphabetical order. Here, sort A to Z. Cool. Now, what I can do is I'm going to go back to my sheet for my chart, and I will go, this cell equals a VLOOKUP of this name in this table, asteroid table. Hope you can see that. It says asteroids table. It's the thing that we named. Or maybe it's still table 1 for you. Whatever. Double click it. What column index? The interpretations were in the 3rd column. I'm not going to click over. You can believe me in a second, but it was in the 3rd column. Okay, that's it. That's it. We're done. Yay, Herodias. See, right? Column 1, column 2, column 3. This is what we're looking up. And so, look, we've got an interpretation for Herodias. How do I know that's right? I don't know that's right. I do know off the top of my head that Salacia is an under-recognized partner, because a lot of these things I just forget about. So let's see if I can click this little square in the corner. Look at that. Oh, see the change right there? Pull it down. Oh, look at that. Associated with an underappreciated, underpraised, or underrecognized partner. Good, we win. So now, let's just flood it. See that little square? Go there, double click it. Boom. Interpretations, instant. All right. Now, there are lots of things that you can do. If you don't want to do a VLOOKUP all day because later this table is giving you a hard time, you can always undo the VLOOKUP. I have to do this a lot because sometimes you don't want the formula to stay there. If you don't, because it'll tell you when you click VLOOKUP, I'm a VLOOKUP, right? What I'll do is select the whole column, copy it, right click, paste only the values. I paste it over itself. And now the VLOOKUP is gone and it's just the text packaged and ready to go. So anyway, we have these guys. Let's put a filter on these. Boom. And I'm going to, that's it. We win. And this is all I have time for in this video. If you want to look up your favorite asteroids and you want to see where they are, where's my sun, where's my moon, where's my house? Did I ask for the houses in here? Let's see if I did. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, okay, I did. It's automatic. So let's just say where all my houses are. Go to name, type in house. There we go. Oh, okay, there's no house there. Apparently the asteroid house is there, but the house isn't there. It's not going to matter that much. I find that curious that I didn't pull the houses in. There's usually something that you can select in order to do that, and I guess I just didn't do it. I don't know where it is, but it's escaping me here. Oh, here we go. You need a latitude and longitude. How else would it tell you what house was there? Why would it know the ascendant if it didn't know where on the literal Earth you were? Yeah. I'll just pick my former living place, San Antonio, and click go. And in this new table, you'll have houses somewhere. There we go. There it is, house 7. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to mess with that for right now. You need this if you want to know about your ascendant in midheaven. Let me end this video actually by talking about that. You know what? I am going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to take these guys, Control-Shift-End, Control-C. I'm going to go back to Excel. And I'm going to turn off my filter and just paste my stuff. Yep, no word wrap. I'm going to turn that off. All right. Okay, so looks like the same thing, right? Not quite. You see, whoops. You can see that this table is longer because it includes houses. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump that. Booyah. Go up here. Here's what I want to kind of show you about this and why it's better than this. Well, anything's better than this. Why it's better than, say, a scattered version. Um, you don't know what's in here. And let's say you wanted to know the character of your reputation. How are people seeing me normally? Crap, there are no asteroids. I don't know. So, but if you're here, you can go into this table, and I'm going to turn on the filters again. And you can look up midheaven. No midheaven. Okay, house. House 10. That's the midheaven. Let's just keep only house 10 in there. And house 1, the midheaven and the ascendant. Okay, it's in 21 Cancer. So, apparently I didn't have interpretations for houses, so you can't believe these interpretations. But, in other words, you won't find house 10 interpreted in this table. So you have to watch your VLOOKUPs. Sometimes they look up stuff that wasn't there. But, oh no, you know what it was? It was because I removed the formula. Dang it. So now I've just created a big problem for myself. Let me fix this. Let's just put the VLOOKUP back. Equals VLOOKUP. I'm gonna look up this. And the table is going to be asteroid table, and it's column 3. Okay, there we go. Flood it. Go all the way down. Okay. How you handle daily affairs. Oh, it is correct. Booyah. So I did have interpretations. I had to keep the formula in there. Anyway, so we can look up 21 Cancer and see what lives there. So I'll scroll, and remember, these things are divided into chunks of 2.5. And so the duodecanate that is responsible for 21 Cancer goes from 20 to 22.5 right here. Remember, this is 22 and a half because it goes up to 60. This is not. So these are the character of that chart's midheaven, and they all go together. If I wanted to really build up my reputation, I would start behaving according to whatever it is in my mind. If it's me, if it's some celeb, if it's some mentor, I would start behaving like whoever in my psychological file cabinet does these things. They're almost guaranteed to be there. In the next recording, I'm going to tell you how to shape this chart in order to astrohack for real by dividing up these guys and building up your grand crosses.